I've never wanted anything more than I want this right now. And I'm married with children.
My dad is Circum.
100 pounds on a compound, bro.
Yeah.
Your poor wife.
What? I didn't have unsub gets into Mandingo fighting on my bingo card.
Your dad asked the waiter if he could start whistling in English.
Say hi to Eli. He's racially ambiguous, and Brandon, his hair is f***ing fabulous. And Donut, a dark joke disposition, and there's a fat electrician. Welcome to Unsubscribe.
On the count of 3, 3, 2, 1, loose.
Loose, I like that. Well done. Didn't say fire, he said loose. That's commitment to authenticity right there.
All right. Well, I get to do Donut Shop today.
You do.
Hell yeah.
Usually he
Hi,
just gets
everyone.
to do donut.
Jesus, you're starting with violence today?
Sorry. Fucking, we're 2 minutes into this. I get an overhand right from the cheap seats.
Damn.
To be fair, I can't establish the jab right now, so that's all I got.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unsubscribe podcast. I am joined today by Eli Doubletap, Fat Electrician, Dash... Aaron? Is your name Aaron?
Oh my god, I forgot my slave name.
Administrative Results, and myself, Donut Operator.
What up, you beautiful bitches? Hi. Welcome. You have majestic hair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doing my research was like, we'll see how he does on this podcast first.
If I may, I like to introduce Dash as the cover art from the romantic smut that your wives and girlfriends read.
It's not too far off, I feel.
That's amazing.
I was like, why does this dude look like he'd be on the cover of a romance novel?
Yes.
Chat, is it gay to recognize the prowess of another man's?
I feel like he's just
being
the
a-
Pokemon evolution of me.
All of a sudden,
I fed him the lightning stone.
him being a successful realtor is making more and more sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
There you go.
Here's the master bedroom. Imagine it.
Imagine. You like stand and lay on it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Look at that giant mirror in the corner.
Some flower petals.
Do you do real estate?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
that's
YouTube
awesome.
is, just for fun. My wife and I have done it for a while.
What's your female client base like? Higher than 50%?
No, I get along with the dudes more, I feel like it's just more chill. I think the long hair is like more relaxed for a lot of the guys.
Women just don't want to talk about longbows as much. I find.
No, it's unfortunately it's not appreciated as much.
Because they're gay.
Damn, do I feel that, dude.
I mean, yeah, women suck dick. I mean, that's pretty gay, if you ask me.
I mean, science.
This does check out.
Do you guys know each other?
Yeah.
How long have you guys known each other? I don't know the lore between any of this.
How long
This
do
is
we
why
go
I'm
back?
like,
Oof, maybe 2 years. I
We've
think.
served in the ranks together.
Yes.
In His Majesty the King's army, fighting against the French in France, campaigning on many a campaign.
Sir, please leave the medieval times.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you guys LARP together?
No.
Technically,
I mean,
yes.
technically, yes. Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah, our first video together was like a LARP.
Yeah, we served in the LARP Corps together.
Yes. We did a bow versus ballistic dummy as the first one.
Yeah,
And
everyone got mad about the quality of the armor. But
Yeah.
damn, dude, I can't afford legit cuirasses all the time.
very expensive.
You guys are getting on my ass about that stuff.
It's going to be a super autistic episode. You were saying that yesterday.
Do we really think the medieval peasants wouldn't be rocking Amazon armor if they had Amazon?
That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly what they would have been.
That was one of my
That's-
points.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is the dude that bought the cheap armor and watch him die.
King Henry, this guy can beat on a piece of metal with a hammer for 18 years, or you
Yeah.
can just give Jeff Bezos like $6,000.
Yeah.
Ye old
Arm
wish.com.
Yeah.
Contracting, lowest bidder has been around for a while.
All right. Favorite night movie.
A Knight's Tale.
Dude,
It was fun.
That's
Yeah.
my top two for sure.
Yeah.
It's tied for one.
Yeah.
I
was
want
thinking-
Nick already
Heath
has
Ledger
one
one?
of my notes.
Huh?
Is that the Heath Ledger one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was
Joe
pretty.
Keith
That
Ledger
was
one.
that was very fun back in the day for sure.
That was a movie that could have only come out of the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think so.
So great.
Just running down there with no armor, jousting even with wood is going straight through. You.
Queen existed back then.
Yeah, medieval peasants chanting "We will rock you."
Huge back in the day.
Guitar solo coming out of the funeral.
Boom, boom. It holds up so well.
It's a classic.
No, that or what's the God? I forget the name of it every time. It's a Netflix exclusive one with Matt Damon and Adam Driver. Where they have a night fight at the end.
Yeah, The Last Duel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Based off of that's factual.
Yeah, that was based off the last duel to the death, I think, that was recorded. The last actual death by combat.
Also, wild story because no one knows the truth.
Exactly.
There's 3 variations.
Yeah, it's a trippy story for sure.
I just thought the night fight at the end was actually oh, this is a full on cage fight with swords and armor.
Yeah.
And the opponent dies. It's not like, oh, honor him.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing I think too, because in doing what I'm doing, I've met a lot of guys that do the Buhurt, which is the full cage contact, sports MMA of the grappling with the armor and all that stuff. And there's one guy out in Germany, to Queedum, and so he's given me some armor pieces to test, and we've kind of gotten close back and forth. But he does unscripted night fights with different cultures. So he's got a crew that he goes with. One guy's like a samurai and a knight, and so the weapons are dull, but they straight up brawl, and it goes into a clench within 15 seconds every time. Right, the clench and then the takedown. It's really not fancy. It's not fancy swordsmanship. It's instant engagement takedowns.
I think I've talked about that. This is so that's the individual that does those realistic battles.
Yeah.
Hey, this is how this would play out actually.
I think so. And he's a German guy.
Yup.
Yeah.
And then they'll do 3 peasants versus a knight.
The knight. 5 peasants versus the knight. Yeah, that's the guy.
Brutal, because he just goes in and murders
Yeah.
all of them. It's oh, this is actually how this would play out. And that's
Yeah.
where you see there's no flash or anything. It's I'm going to just stab you in between the crease of the armor and watch you bleed out.
Jesus.
Oh, it's gnarly.
Where does he keep finding more people to volunteer to be the peasants?
It's super good shit. If you haven't watched that is fantastic to watch. Have you done any of that yet?
No, I haven't. No, that's a lot of investment for initial cost, just for the armor sets and everything. I would love to do it. I've done wrestling and grappling jiu-jitsu for a long time. What do you mean?
How much?
For all that stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, he sent me some stuff, and just for the gauntlets and everything, that's $400 for just the gauntlets, and that's a cheaper part. They articulate and everything, and I'd say
That's not as bad as I thought.
Unsub's going to sponsor him. We're going to fight him like a Pokemon.
I will do it.
You will be our champion.
I'll do it. Straight up. No, I've done jiu-jitsu for a long time.
Brandon Mon, I choose you. You come out.
100%. Sponsor, I'll go in the cage. Heck yes.
How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
8-9 years.
Black belt?
No. I took time on purple. I took time
gotcha.
on, off. You know how it is when you're older.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
you can't really do it consistently.
Bro, we're sponsoring a night.
We're sending him to Buffalo.
Bring in the cum night.
So can I have a different name though? I hate cum night.
That's your name.
We're sponsoring this. It's our name.
He's right outside the Buffalo Public School System headquarters and just bring out your champion.
100%.
the night of the realm of the unsubscribed.
I can get Bunker to make the cum flags for the guide on.
Dude, we will buy the nicest
Yeah, we'll buy the
armor.
night armor.
Dude, yeah, get this because
The gang sponsors a night.
Bro,
We'll go film it.
you think we're joking.
I don't.
I'm dead serious.
I'm serious too. I've never wanted anything more than I want this right now, and I'm married with children.
You kiss them goodbye and walk to your match? No, we're going realistic. Horseback the entire way.
Your kids are still younger, right?
Yeah,
They're how old are they? They're all
they
under
are
10.
7, 6, 5.
Bro, do you know how cool it would be for him though to have his kids show up and oh my god, my dad's a knight at 5 years old?
My dad is succumbed.
Think of the children with the name. Give me something here. I don't want him saying it at school.
Circummius.
Oh, no.
Your last name is Cision.
Oh, God.
Circumcision.
Ooh, we gotta change up the PR for the kids.
You wanted to do, actually, I think you're the one that talked about it. We've done.
Because they do it out at that museum we went to, me and Ethan. That furniture museum and like old village thing in, what's that town? Right,
New
like an hour
Braunfels?
away. New Braunfels, yeah. They said they do it there every year. They have a Renaissance festival and they have like the night fighting.
Because people want us to do it.
The night fighting?
Yeah. And we've already got, we got people that would be like, hey, we'll loan armor for that if we do the fights.
That's kind of cool. I have seen a couple of those videos, though, where, people are just using the big fucking hammers and shit. And dude just takes a hit to the back of the head and the arm, like the helmet dents.
Yeah.
That meme, like, anybody got an ibuprofen? I got a headache.
This is back before they developed crumple zones and all the impact just goes right through the metal into your body.
The back of your skull is the crumple zone.
Yeah. I try to argue with old people about that. Like, old cars back in the day, you could get in a fender bender and they were fine. I go, yeah, but you weren't.
Yeah.
They're meant to do that so you don't die.
Yeah.
Your body explodes on the inside. That's what would happen. Old people. So we'll do. Are you down to join this medieval festival?
Yeah, how many pairs of knight armor do we need?
Of course.
You already have one, I'm sure.
Me and him could probably wear the same set.
Not at the same time.
Close enough. Well, not at the same time.
If thy liege lord commands, I shall
I'm not
answer.
wearing the knight armor the entire time. It's going to get hot as shit.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Is
I don't
like,
want to share. It's going to get sweaty, dude.
yeah.
The gang does this in November.
August. The game dies from death.
But we just gotta make sure you got the full kit. So you got the arming jacket, the mail, and then the plate, and all that stuff.
New side quest.
Dude,
I start doing more deadlifting. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 60 to 120 pounds for full meal.
Yeah, I'd say probably because everything, like the mail and then the plate and all that stuff, is probably 60 pounds, I would say. Probably close to that. Depends on the quality, because right now a lot of guys that have, like, are heavily invested use titanium. So it's going to be
that's cheating.
It's going to be a fraction of the weight, for the same amount of protection, if not better.
How much is
I'm
a titanium
cheating.
suit?
I don't know. The guy Dequeedum, he has one, but I've never asked him how much it is. But his real suit is like part of his like.
Ye old SR-71 armor.
I was trying to come up with an SR-71 joke.
What does Master Chief wear? Was it Mjolnir?
Yeah, meal.
It's
Light though, right? It's freaking light, right?
Get some
You just can't move.
Get some ceramite, Space Marine it. Perfect. The God King Emperor.
That's what it demands.
There's a bunch of people in our audience who've never felt the touch of a woman who are loving this episode.
I'm so stoked for this.
This is gonna be like your
I'm straight up. If I do this, I'm straight
Yeah.
up tackling somebody. I'm not messing with swords or nothing. It's going straight to the ground.
You train, right?
Yeah, I've been doing jiu-jitsu
All right,
for a
then
long
me and
time.
you, we'll go on the same time. Just straight up, just go straight for the takedown. Double leg,
Jiu-jitsu and
done.
knight armor.
Exactly.
He's looking for
Throw.
another muscle group to tear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Never get torn doing combat. I always get torn doing dumb stuff like bench press.
In the
That
last
is the
year,
dumbest thing you can do is fight in knight armor, I think.
It's
That's what
high
I
up
said.
there.
I never get injured doing dumb stuff. I always get injured.
the mundane.
Yeah.
Cool
Never
stuff.
mind.
I always get
Yeah.
injured doing stupid stuff like stuff that shouldn't injures me.
because the last year you popped 2 titties and a bicep.
No, the two titties. The first titty was like 4 years ago, so it's been a while. Yeah.
40, 50 pounds.
Yep.
And then a push-up.
No, just freak accident in jiu-jitsu.
And then you caught water.
Yep. This is true.
This is the wild.
true.
Oh, fuck yeah. Okay, well, we'll set that up. And Brandon, when do you want to fight?
What's up?
October, late October, we'll do this.
Sure. Yeah. Well, whenever it's not fucking a billion degrees outside in Texas.
Hypothetically, if you did announce you were running for Congress, would that be after? Because there's nothing
Yes.
cooler than
'Cause
having a
you realize
campaign
if
rally
you
while
do
you're
that, we
fighting
could
as a
flank
knight.
you. No, if you do it again, we could have knights next to you as you announce.
What in the idiocracy? That is right up there with President Comancho.
It's not bad. Yeah.
I present to you the not so secret service. I wonder who's protecting Brandon. Is it the phalanx in front of him?
Jesus Christ.
That guy's got my vote.
Well, we're going to do that then. Fuck yeah. I'm super fucking stoked for this. Admin, I just watched your breakdown of the battle of... what was the...
Last of Us 2.
Last of Us.
God.
What's the
godforsaken show in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
I didn't even think about a lot of stuff you brought out until you started talking about it. I was like, Forgot. Yeah, they didn't do any of that for 25 years.
They had 20 years to build Mega Fortress in the Valley. What the hell were they doing?
You guys haven't watched it yet, have you?
I have no interest in watching the second season. First season was all right. I enjoyed a good bit of it.
I will give it credit. First season, episode 1, when the outbreak was happening, was very good television.
Yeah.
Very entertaining.
Yeah, and the last episode I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, a couple shit in between was all right, but like, no, I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. Second season, I already know what's up. I'm not watching that shit.
Yeah.
I was really wondering too, because like a lot of that revolved around, the barrels full of gasoline. Like, where are you making that now?
Oh,
because it is like 25 fucking years after that's no longer a thing.
Yeah.
Admin, what do you point out during
They
their wooden wall?
Yeah.
Wooden wall, which makes way less sense when it's that.
Massive OSHA violation. Just literally with the worst catapult, like metal ramp, just launching these metal barrels. They have to shoot them, and then they throw torches to light them on fire. What the fuck? I don't get it, dude.
So now you have flaming zombies that are all over your wooden wall.
Yes, your very dry wooden wall.
Did they even have a trench?
No trench.
Oh,
You
okay.
think that anybody, please for the love of God, build a trench.
Yeah, that's like 101. You just dig.
Just dig a trench.
Yeah.
Barbed wire,
I've always
trenches.
wanted a moat.
A moat. Heaven forbid a moat.
A moat would be dope. I want a drawbridge for my house. How cool that would be.
A lot
It'd get
of work.
really old for the FedEx guy, but that's his problem.
He has to do it every time. And you make it extra slow. I fucking hate this house.
You just have a bunch of stomped Amazon packages outside your door.
Fire them, put it on the catapult, launch it over. Launch it over.
I need a moat now. I don't want anybody to steal my little boy replica I'm going to put in my front yard.
It's going to go hard.
It's a weird thing to steal.
The Chechens may
You
steal
ever met a
it.
tweaker? It's scrap metal to them.
Oh, that's very
It's fair
true.
game.
How much does it weigh?
It's like 800 pounds. It's ridiculous.
They need to steal them.
It was really funny to drive across town in a trailer. I got some good looks.
Afraid of tweakers stealing your little boy.
Yes.
But there's copper in your skin. Let it out.
Hey, Brandon. Yes, Eli? When you think of businesses that are just crushing it, Bunker, Unsub, what's the first thing to enter your mind?
That's easy, Eli. A good child labor law attorney. Huh? Eli, I said Shopify. What did you hear?
Actually, it was the overlooked secret behind the business.
Like I said, Shopify.
Oh. Which brings us to today's ad.
Shopify. I mean, we use Shopify on a daily basis.
That's right. We use Shopify for Bunker, Brandon, and Unsub. Those magical shoes we have where they're linked through Shopify to the mythical store at Bunker Branding. And because of Shopify, they communicate.
It's like your mom and your dad on their anniversary night. Not yours.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify.
They are home of the #1 checkout on the planet.
With Shop Pay, which boosts your conversion up to 50%.
50%. Just like the age of all of our factory workers are 50% the age they need to be legally employed in the United States.
Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we get over at Unsubscribe or Bunker.
Sign up for your $1 per month trial period over at shopify.com/unsubpod.
Head over to shopify.com/unsubpod to upgrade your selling today.
Shopify.com/unsubpod.
All lowercase.
Your nervous system is made of copper.
With it, you brought up on that. The one thing I always go back, YouTube didn't exist, so you don't have tutorials. And then also people, I don't know what they were doing during the outbreak, but you had soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's like, whoa, what's going on?
Those guys.
Exactly. They're just like,
Oh, shit.
are we stuck here now? But the training and everything, because you point out they don't have Molly and stuff. They have like Alice gear, but
Yeah.
like what the fuck are
Still
people
should
using?
be good enough to carry ammunition. They have no like crew served weapons. You know, Browning 50 cal exists, saws exist,
movie is
M60s
this?
exist,
This is
The Last of Us.
240s
Oh,
exist,
the new season.
museums exist, America exists. Brandon Herrera existed.
he was like 8.
Yeah, he'd been he'd been 8.
Imagine being permanently stuck in a timeline where the most recent camouflage, the cutting edge is ACU.
That wasn't even a thing.
Predates.
Really? What is it?
2006 is when ACU, the end of 2005, early 2006, ACU got rolled out. This is
And Last of Us
2003.
2003? Oh.
Don't
Oh,
get
that's
me-
fortunate.
Don't get me
They
started on
got
ACU.
God's camo M81.
Oh, why not?
I haven't been able to find the proof, but I'm almost positive it was like literally just some congressman's son that got the contract because when they were developing the new camo to replace the Lord's flannel, they had like 7 camos that they ran through, and they settled on. They did like testing for years. They did testing, and they settled on one that looks almost identical to multicam. They settled on it. They did the testing for years, and then they went into the meeting, and they're like, I like this one more, the Digicam, and it wasn't even one of the ones that they had tested. So they ran through all the testing of it was like 6 to 8 different camos, found the best one, and then just pulled the shittiest camo ever out of left field, and we're like, we're going with this.
That's the most
do
government
it?
shit.
$1 billion was spent on ACUs.
It was $1 billion, yeah.
$1 billion for that camo pattern, by the way.
To develop it?
Yep.
Somebody, that's what I'm saying.
I think my eye just twitched.
It was fucking Hunter Biden on his laptop with Microsoft Paint. Got $1 billion fucking dollars.
It's a grandma with her couch cushion.
I know.
Yeah, could we pull up the picture of the guy planking on grandma's couch in ACU?
You can't see anything, and it actually blends in perfectly.
To be fair, the Navy's version of ACU was objectively worse.
Oh, the water.
I haven't seen
the
this.
dark and light blue Digicam, you know, because if you're on a fucking warship, what you want to do is to be able to blend in with the fucking water.
Man overboard.
Where the fuck did he go?
Oh shit! Oh no, we lost him.
What happens if they fight on the water? They have to blend in on.
I saw where he hit the water. I just can't see him.
Because you don't want to see anybody to be able to see you on a massive battleship.
Yeah, 5 stories up.
Right. Like,
But what are we hiding from exactly?
don't worry, I'm sure they're going to quit dropping bombs on the cruiser because Jim fell overboard. Jim, fuck off.
God, you guys need to watch at least episode 2 though of The Last of Us because it is absolutely horrendous. They throw all tactical knowledge out the window, and it is 25 years they had to develop that base, right?
25 years, dude.
25 years, wood walls.
Yeah, it takes place 2028, so 25 years.
Yep. And then there's no, like past that, it's like one guy gets in, and then it's just everything falls apart instantly.
Yeah. One big chungus of a zombie hits the wall, and then the whole thing falls apart.
Very
I'm
Helm's
like,
Deep.
what was the point, dude?
It's so bad. A chongus of a zombie is the best way to describe what
really
it is. Yo, big chongus is in. Chongus is in.
Chungus open fire! No one like shits fire to like put a bunch of lead into it.
And then it's just him running. So they're in. They're in. They didn't barricade any downstairs, so all the zombies go up top and start killing everyone instantly. It was bad.
I
One of
hate HBO, dude.
One of the complaints that I heard was that it was like it looked like they were getting their ass kicked, and then it just suddenly everything's fine.
Yeah, they won.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy's wife goes and releases the hounds, and then all of a sudden they win.
Oh, I forgot dogs are what helped stop that.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't get it.
What the fuck are dogs doing against zombies?
Unless they're immune.
Yeah,
like,
unless
it
they're
wouldn't make any
immune.
sense.
That is the ultimate, the ultimate Uno reverse card.
Yeah.
Is you're afraid to get bitten by zombies. Now they're biting the zombies.
All the zombies start turning into dogs. Holy shit, look at all these German shepherds.
In that case, I know a lot of toddlers that have turned into pit bulls.
Movie idea.
Oh, man.
A werewolf that's a toddler that turns into a pit bull.
How funny would that be for a spoof movie, though? Like, we imagine World War Z, but instead of developing the cure for immunity, we develop a cure to make dogs turn the zombies into dogs. It'd be perfect.
Can we go with mine? I thought mine was more plausible.
Oh, welcome, Dash. This is where you get. Did you watch a single episode before?
I did.
Okay, thank God.
I braced myself for what would be unhinged shenanigans.
He's like, I'll just watch this grandma episode real quick. He's like, Brandon. It's like, oh, they're sweet. This is a nice relaxed
Dear
episode.
God, what have I done? I'm already on the plane. It's too late now.
That was just such
in
a funny, just such a polite letdown. Well, we could do my movie idea. No.
Holy shit.
Have to settle it in the medieval knight form of combat.
I think that's a winner right there. That and the GED thing. Would be
Nick's gonna
matching.
kick my
Yes,
ass.
yes.
That'd be great.
I mean, okay, so going back to your medieval movies, what is your style of content specifically for yourself?
Like me?
Yeah.
So just like imagine you were a kid and you had two toys and you go bah, and you smash them together. That's kind of the idea behind a lot of it. I shoot super heavy duty war bows, so I've trained my life to get up to like a 160 pound bow. So there's not a lot of people that do that. There's a few guys out in England, but not a lot. So I do a lot of archery type content against plate armor and different type of things like that because there's few people that have that capacity for that draw weight.
Just for reference, like 160, what's your max pullback?
The most I've gotten so far has been like 120-ish pounds, probably.
Brandon, when you pulled,
God, it's
mine
crazy.
was 55. Yes, the compound bow, but that was 55 when you pulled it back.
Yeah, that's absurd. 120? Fuck.
160.
160 is insane.
So that was like always been like my goal to try to get to that. So I've had some cool stuff where APA sent me like a 100-pound compound bow, which is like the latest and greatest. And so I did that. And so just because a lot of people give me, I've never used the clamp, so I was using my fingers on it. And a lot of people give me grief about that, but they said it was fine to do. So I was pulling that, and that was doing crazy work.
Eli's face right now.
Bro, you weren't using a fucking
No.
release? You were just with your fingers
Yeah.
doing 100-pound.
Period accurate, homie.
How do you...
Just 3 fingers. So that was a cool one because I tested against like hardened steel plate, and the war bows fail against that. But when you get that compound, like the modern bow, and I had a bishop arrow. So bishops are like they're the arrows used for hunting elephants and big game. It's like a 1700 grain double.
The fuck did you just say?
You couldn't pay me enough to hunt an elephant
No,
with
I'm
a pointy
serious.
stick.
No,
Well, first off, you're still 100 pounds on a compound bow.
Yeah.
Your poor wife.
Jesus. 180-pound rated fingers right there.
I'm like, Jesus.
Hard to articulate the satisfaction I have right now for having my reference material here in the flesh. Bash doesn't know how many times in here and in real life I've referenced him, so it's nice to have my source material present. So
I can tell you, if you ever get into the AK space, I'm kind of fucked.
Yeah. Like,
Have you ever had like any, I guess like X-rays comparing arms to see if after doing this for so long you have more bone density in a particular arm over the other?
I actually haven't done that, but this is anecdotal. But I got a while ago I got a massage, and the guy was talking to me, and he's like,
hold on.
yeah, I mean,
pause.
just saying.
He has strong hands.
Yes.
So what do you do for
My wife made the massage. It was a couples massage. She was in the room, which I don't know if it makes it worse. I'm digging a deeper hole. Dear
She's
God.
sitting in the corner.
I am.
We really don't need to know about that.
She was in the room's way worse.
I'm in it now. I'm going to finish the story. I can't abort. We're just going to go ahead.
So your wife is watching.
Yes.
Okay.
But they'd said that it felt like there was like 2 different backs when he was doing it. Like the way the muscle ligaments attached on one side versus the other one felt extremely different. Like there was different, like it felt almost like a completely different anatomy for the left side to the right side.
And then he charged you for 2 massages.
Yes. So I do think that there's a little bit of that, and historically you could find, because they start at such a young age, there was actually they would deform the skeleton because it would mess with the growth patterns because they would start pulling it so young. So they can identify archers by their skeletons because there is a curve, and they have an example of one at a museum over in England of an archer skeleton, and they had like it was like the excess bone mass on a specific side. So there's a little bit of a hunch as well, just from the strain of doing the actual weight of that bow.
Kind of makes sense. It's like MMA with like conditioning.
Yeah.
You know,
no shin
yeah.
bones, anything like that from like Thai fighters.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, exactly. Same concept as that. Yeah. So I've never done the X-ray. I've had a few people ask to do it, but I haven't done that yet. So
Do it.
okay. All right.
We'll sponsor that too.
Okay. All right.
A lot, yeah. Sir comes a lot. Or whatever your name is.
We're making sure that the strength of our fighter is where we need you to be.
Yes, yes.
We need the MRIs, the X-rays. You know, don't want to bet on a lame horse.
Oh my gosh, I'm just commodity now. Just getting pushed around. Well,
I didn't have Unsub gets into Mandingo fighting.
I know, exactly. This took a different turn.
Here we are.
So,
and then in addition to that, I do a lot of stuff with the sling, the shepherd sling. So that's the thing that like David used, right?
Yep.
That's old school rope, like just rope over the head, swing around. And so I do a lot of stuff with that, testing it against different types of armors, soft armors as well. So I do some of the bone, like most of my stuff, I don't have the budget for like ballistic dummy, but I get like cow ribs and femurs and things like that to test it behind like the soft armor, how a sling does against that. So like if a rock would crack rib behind.
well, you were saying, how big were the arrows? How many grain were they?
So the arrows are like 1,500, 1,600 grains.
And then how was for the 160 pounds? How big are
No,
those arrows?
that's about 1,700 grains for that.
1,700
grains. But the arrows I got from Bishop Archery were 1,700 modern arrows, and they have like 0 flex, and those are like $200 a pop. The guy was nice enough to send me like 6 of them to try, but they're really expensive.
Yeah, 1,700 grains for reference is like just under 350 cals.
God dang. That is a massive arrow. And then that one, how hard is that 160 pounds?
I mean, that's the
draw?
limit right now. I have 180 and 175 I've been working towards. My goal was always to get to 200 because that's like the world record, technically. There's people that do more, but they just haven't. You know how the world record works where it's like people like, I want to pay for this. And so they get the record. But there's dudes out there that can pull like 210, 220. But I've always just wanted to get to like that 200 pounds. So I've worked on that for a long time. But once I got to 160, 165, I've just been stuck. Like your body, it's so taxing that your body just wants to break in on itself. Like especially the left shoulder, trying to hold it out at that point, it's almost like compressing you in.
And mass moves mass, and you're like $190 maybe, $180.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to be like 250. How big were the guys pulling those?
Well, they were smaller. Obviously, that was just, they weren't like, they were strong, right? That's the thing. It's like, think of anyone with a specific muscle grouping for a specific thing, like arm wrestlers or things like that, where they get like, they have very specific muscles for very specific movements. It doesn't mean that you're strong overall. It means you're strong in a specific movement that you do. And so with those archers, it was really just being able to be strong in that movement. They were extremely strong, but it wouldn't translate to like raw strength. Like I don't think they would out bench press people, right? It's just that one particular movement.
That is why. And how hard is it hitting a lot of those objects, armor, or what's it punching?
I mean, it's
through at
very
that point?
hard. The only problem is that wood does not transfer energy well, because when the wood arrow hits, it tends to diffuse it if it's not going through it, and it loses momentum fast. So if I go against like, let's say different armor types, so like mild steel is what's used a lot of times nowadays with like different types of replication. So mild steel is like low carbon content, and so it's not going to do a great job stopping it. But if you have like a hardened steel, even if it's like, C60 hardened steel, and you have like 0.5 or 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeters, at 1.5, it's not getting through. But at 1 millimeter, I can punch into it a little bit. But it's not going to go through mail and padded gamison. It's just going to punch into it. It's not going to hit the whole thing.
Oh, this is wild to me. Is this what got you into your autism? Was like, I'll reach out to this guy.
Bernard Cornwell, his work on the Archer series
Yeah.
got me into it. Then I found Dash, and I was like, this dude's pulling 160. What the? It was insane, because once you start, you're like, okay, I guess I'll get a heavy bow. Then you realize where you're actually at. I've been technically lifting weights since I'm 13. I was like, I could hop in on this, no problem. Humbled extremely fast.
Even compound was like 60 pounds. I mean, like Brandon, you got humbled by like it is like
it's harder than you think. Like it doesn't sound like a lot of weight, but when it's an awkward movement that you're not used to doing,
Right.
Which I was actually going to ask as a follow up to that. What kind of exercises in the gym do you do specifically for archery that would help with that muscle group?
So the best thing realistically is you got to understand too, the style is very different than Olympic style archery. Olympic style archery is usually like you see them and they come in like this and they activate the back, but it's not really doing much. The best thing is like a wide grip pull up, because what you're actually doing is you're coming in and you're dropping down. And so it's basically pushing, pulling, and dropping. And so that drop motion right there, that's the hardest part, because that's when you get from like 24 inches, 26 to like 32. So that's when most of the weight stacks. And so wide grip pull-ups is something that's really going to get you to be able to drop in that extra little movement right there. So that and weighted wide grip pull-ups. But I also have like a little bow
Weighted
trainer.
wide grip pull-ups.
Yeah.
I'm not in that good shape.
it's called body weight.
Yeah. So those are actually going to be the most useful for that type of archery. But if you're just like doing standard, archery with modern, it's 40, 45 pounds. It's going to be right in here, just like this. It's not going to take the whole body into account.
And that's, you were like, oh, I'll start off at 80, 60. What were you starting off at?
My first bow, I tried to buy 100 pounds, but I think it ended up being closer to like 70 or 80 once I got my 109 pounder, because then I got my 135 pounder and I don't get a full draw on it, so it's probably only like 120. But that one, it's like if I don't train on it, like I can't just hop back in on the heaviest weight.
Yeah.
Like I have to essentially restack my way up.
What were you cracking up at?
Huh?
What were you cracking up at a second ago?
My mom just texted me.
Yeah.
We've all met my dad, yeah?
Yeah.
See?
I'm just going to read this text message. Your dad took Nana and I to Plaza Mexico, the local Mexican restaurant.
Do we
The
want
cook...
to bleep that just in case that's a local place that...
Oh, I don't give a shit. There's
Okay.
like 5 of them. So, the cook was whistling nonstop. Your dad asked the waiter if he could start whistling in English.
That reminds me...
A Mexican
That reminds me of like the...
daughter-in-law. Your kids are Mexican.
Like the bad subtitles on a fucking Netflix thing. Whistles in Spanish.
I checked my phone. That took me by surprise.
Dad's just like, my real estate career is gone.
What does that server say? They're just like, oh yes, certainly, sir, and walk away. Wait, what?
My dad's been going there 3 times a week for 15 years. They know he's joking.
Yeah.
It's still just fucking funny. Can you tell him to whistle in English, please?
Brandon, what's I actually meant to ask yesterday, what's the next video you're working on? Do you have any like gun builds coming up?
Oh, did I talk about any of the stuff I got from Rock Island?
No.
Oh, I don't think so.
I kind of had a weekend that was, during one of my...
That sounds expensive.
Yeah. I was a little fast and loose. I bought a M79 thumper. Like the little 40
real one?
A real one.
Oh.
So 40 mic grenade launcher.
Okay, I need subtitles.
Explain.
Subtitles.
Yeah.
It's not a stick. I don't get it. It's a stick and a string. As far as I go.
I mean, it's kind of a stick. It just has a bigger tube. But like Vietnam era 40 millimeter, like single shot
Break
grenade
action.
launcher. But got one of those. I picked up the Beretta AR-70 from doing some Metal Gear shit. Because fucking Eli got me into MGS5, and that's a gun I don't own, and I can't have that. So could not tolerate it. Picked up one of those. So I'm gonna be doing probably you and I are probably gonna work together on a Metal Gear Solid video.
You have to incorporate the box.
That's exciting.
Oh, that's a good
You
idea.
have to incorporate the
Yes.
box.
Because we've got some exotic shit that, I mean, like the Barrett M82A2.
Yep.
There's like 12 of those in the world.
And you have one.
Is that the
of
shoulder
them.
one?
Yeah, I think I have the one that's... I'm not sure about this part, but I think I have the one that's ever gone... the only one that's ever gone to commercial sale, like for
Yeah,
civilians.
because one's in a prop house and the rest are still... Nobody knows.
I'm sure the military kept some of them. Barrett, I think, kept 1 or 2. One of them ended up in like fucking Norway somehow, like their military. But
And the MGS5, no idea, or MGS4, Hideo picked that. No idea how he picked that weapon platform for that game. Everyone's like,
No clue.
highly specific. Because we have that. We're looking for a PSG-1. I have the Stinger missile
the Barrett
launcher.
50 cal sniper
the tube
rifle.
of it.
I know
decommissioned
50 cal, but I
Stinger
don't
missile
know.
launcher, and then
It's a
Mark 23.
unique version.
You know that one.
Sits on your shoulder like an RPG, like a bazooka, and you shoot it that way instead of being a sniper rifle. That's
The
what they're
military-
talking
It
about.
sits like it wraps on your
Yeah,
shoulder.
like the magazine sits
Yeah.
right here, and there's a buttstock that rests on your shoulder, and you hold it, and it like sits on your shoulder like a bazooka.
Dude.
But it's a 50 cal.
Yeah, Jamie, pull that shit up.
It's actually pretty smart if you think about it. Like
Yeah.
for carrying around
It's
a Barrett
way
50
cooler
cal.
to shoot.
Yeah.
That right there.
Oh my lord. Yeah, that's insane.
Also terrifying where the action happens,
Yes. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, the explosion's happening right there.
That's where I'm afraid of.
Believe me, either it's going to work out or you're not going to care.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. The because that was the one that Chris Barrett. I posted something where I showed that I had one of those, or when I had just picked it up, and he's like, "I don't ever use this fucking word, but that's actually a unicorn." He's like, "How genuinely? How the fuck did you get that?" But
Rare fucking weapon.
yeah, so we just got a bunch of stuff from Metal Gear, and the Metal Gear fans are fucking rabid. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah. It's a whole subculture that's very passionate about it.
So I joined the military because I know it's not the message of that game. the opposite of that. But I joined because of it. I'm so fucking stoked. And then you got the volcanic.
Oh yeah, the volcanic pistol. Picked up one of those. So we're gonna try our hand at recreating some of the ammunition for it because it's the rocket
kid.
ball.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Unobtainium. I saw Rock Island actually sold a couple years ago. They sold like 80 rounds of volcanic ammo. Like it was still like new in box from the 1855. It's like 20 fucking grand for a box of ammo.
Oh my god.
Most of which probably doesn't work.
It's weird ammo because that's the original gyrojet kind of.
That's kind of a misnomer, but they called it rocket ball. Like it kind of is like that. It really was a very unique take, actually from the company that later became Smith and Wesson. It was some guy. His last name was Smith, and then you had Dan Wesson, and they worked together on the volcanic project and getting that made. But basically, it was a predecessor to self-contained cartridges. So basically, they took, like, if you can imagine like a mini ball, like one of those projectiles from like the Civil War, like black powder. They had one of those, but it was hollowed out in the back where they stored the powder in the bullet and put a primer on the back. So it's kind of like a self-contained cartridge with no brass.
Was there still rifling?
Yeah, I believe so.
No shit.
I said that very confidently. I'm not sure, but I think so.
Maybe so. I don't know.
The only problem is they were notoriously underpowered. Like to the fact that there was there's a story, I don't know if it's true, but a guy tried to fucking kill himself with one of them and failed. Because it's like a 100 grain projectile, I think, which is not to sneeze at, but I think it was going like 260 feet per second.
A paintball?
Play airsoft with that thing, dude.
Yeah, straight up. That's airsoft
Yeah,
speed.
yeah.
That's shitty airsoft speed.
Call your hits.
When me and Ethan went out to that Renaissance Festival, I didn't realize how, like, I guess they would adjust cannon fire. Like, I just always assumed that they would, like, lift the cannon up and drop the cannon down. And the dudes that were running, they're like, no, there's a mathematician on the back that was loading the next round, and he would actually on the fly, like, we need this one to go further, and he would pack more black powder into the charge.
And they would literally cut fuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what, like, this dude is just on the fly determining, like, for when the ball is going to explode on an explosive round and how much powder to put in for how far they want it to go. Just on the fly, some dude doing math equations. Figure out
For multiple cannons?
back to back to back. Yeah, like each cannon had a dude doing all the math, and they're like, they would just set the cannons up and fire, and then, like, they didn't move the cannons anymore. Instead, they just repacked the ammunition.
It's like, okay,
so
well,
it's like the opposite of what a sniper does now, right? You use match grade ammunition, so that's the constant, and then you change the scope. They did the opposite.
So the rifle was the constant.
Yeah, the rifle was
else.
a constant, and then they just repacked the ammunition on the fly.
That's fucking wild.
And they'd have like a chart there in the little carriage where they're like, okay, well, if we need to fire at this many yards, we'll have 5 seconds of flight time, which means we need to cut a 1/4 inch off the tip of the fuse so that it explodes over the enemy. Like, they were doing a bunch of calculations.
It was wild shit.
How fast were they at it too?
I forget what he said in the video, but it was like alarmingly fast. Like, they were firing that cannon like every 12 seconds.
Yeah, it was multiple rounds per minute at least.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's terrifying warfare too, because that is your buddy's there, your buddy's no longer there, or his legs are no longer.
Yeah.
It's also,
that ball is just
it's also
Yeah.
nice when the enemy formation's also constant. Stand there! Take it like a fucking man!
Line.
Touche.
You don't need to be that accurate. It's you're firing at minute of crowd.
Yeah.
Phalanx formation. Not working.
Oh my god, they have horses. Get to a square.
Like, fuck that shit.
I actually just watched Waterloo from 1970. Movie goes hard, dude.
Dude, that was so many extras to actually make the squares. They had like thousands
They had
and thousands of people.
So they filmed this in Ukraine during the Soviet Union. They pretty much used all Red Army extras to make this movie.
I've never seen this movie.
I haven't either.
So I think from my research, it flopped domestically here in the States, but now it's kind of still like a cult classic because it's like literally an epic of a movie. Like, they're not going to make a movie like this again with no CGI. They had some dummies to play really far shots, like in formation, but everyone you see in the shots are usually like real humans. Not usually. They are real humans.
Kind of like Lawrence of Arabia, that kind of scale.
The epic, yeah exactly.
Drowning.
It is sick, dude. Because you'll see the big cavalry charges and all the extras are forming square, and it's just movie. It's just beautiful movie. There's no like Hollywood message. There's nothing to it. It's just dudes killing each other.
No cultural dialogue. Just
Nothing.
a reenactment of what fucking happened.
Yeah, literally. You have Napoleon. He's like, I'm gonna kill this guy, and you have Lord Wellington's like, I'm gonna stop Napoleon, and it's just epic, dude.
An epic retelling of the battle that inspired ABBA.
Is that what that is?
What? Go ahead.
Waterloo. It's a really, really deep cut. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm just happy I'm not the only one that missed it.
Chase, put in crickets.
I'll see myself.
Took a comedic risk there. The formation was cut down by grape shot move.
It's like, damn it.
Damn it.
There's like 12 guys out there that thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Comment below.
You guys right there. 3-12.
That was for you.
So how does one get into? I guess I don't know if it's competitive, but I mean, you're one of the best in the world at war bows. How do you get into that?
Oh, I mean, for me, it was just I would always read about these historical classes and and cultures and things. And in high school, I remember reading about English archers and how they would do up to 150 pounds. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I didn't have.
You got that in high school?
Yeah.
Damn.
I didn't have an idea as to what that I just read about it and I'm like, what is that? What does it even feel like? And so it kind of became a goal to I want to see if I can match what that did. And it's the same with the sling. I read about the Balearic slingers in the islands of Majorca, the Spaniards. And I was like, I wonder if I can master a sling. And so it really was just reading about historical, a craft or skill that people would master and trying to see if I could replicate that over time. And so it's just always been something that just drove me to I want to see if I could master what man did back in the day, or at least get passable at it.
Way cooler than mine. I learned a yo-yo in 30 days.
I'm still on Aaron's team where it's like, you learned that in school?
Yeah, it's
You had a cooler history teacher.
No,
in the beginning.
I read about it on my own.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember I read Lord of the Rings and I was fascinated with Legolas. And then I was like, well, what? I want to read more about archers. So I just started reading archers on my own and just started reading about history and the English archers and everything. And you go back to the Welsh and the archers of Gwent back that predates that. And they had different bows that weren't yew, but were still really powerful. So it was just something that I was always I want to see if I can match what people did back in the day, if I can measure up to what they could get to. And so that was always,
Huh.
That is.
Well, I guess we're all lucky he didn't pick Genghis Khan.
I cannot ride a horse, and I would be a horrible horse archer.
I wasn't worried about the horse riding, but not with that hair and aesthetic. Wasn't my concern.
Master of husbandry. Circum. Full circle.
We know what his armor's going to be.
The White Knight.
It's like, fuck.
There you go, a little bit of redemption there.
Lord Brandon has studied the comedic lines. Holding steady.
They keep me around for some reason.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't been fired yet.
Nick, what are you working on next? I don't even know your next fucking video.
Oh no!
I was like, this entire week we haven't had time to ask just those questions yet, which is surprising.
That's true.
Did I tell the 442nd bit on podcast? I don't think I did. I think I told you off camera.
I don't recall. Which one was that?
I did a video. It should be going up on Wednesday. This podcast will be after that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I can tell it. I'm doing a video on the 442nd Infantry Division, which was the American Japanese that volunteered to fight for America anyways, even though a lot of them were being put in internment camps unjustly. And I kind of follow why they put the Japanese in internment camps, like what the justification was, why it was messed up. Then I follow the unit all the way through combat. And then each stage of combat kind of has like one standout guy that did something incredible. So I guess like the two coolest or / funniest for me was the whole reason that FDR and the military as a whole like decided we're going to put every Japanese person in an internment camp was the Nihao incident. So during the second wave of the attack on Pearl Harbor, they got American planes up in the air and they were dogfighting with the Japanese Zeros. One of the Japanese Zeros got hit in the fuel tank and he didn't have enough fuel to get back to the carrier, so he made an emergency landing on what he thought was an abandoned island called Nihao. And so he makes this emergency landing, but there's actually 200 Hawaiians that live there. And the Hawaiians don't know that Pearl Harbor happened yet because it's like 90 miles away. So they like trying to help this guy, like treating him like just some dude that crashed a plane. Like, oh yeah, we'll help you, blah, blah, blah. Well, then they find out, within, 6-8 hours that they had attacked Pearl Harbor. So they throw him in jail. On Nihao, there was 2 Japanese people that lived there. And it was a man and a wife. And the husband decides that he's sympathetic to the cause and he's going to help him escape. So they spring this guy out of jail and get him a gun. And the Hawaiians obviously try to stop him, but he's already got a gun now. It's Hawaii in 1941, So this Samoan dude, not Samoan, Polynesian, Hawaiian, he goes to stop him. His name's Ben Kanahile. And he gets shot 3 times charging at this Japanese Imperial pilot. And makes it to the pilot, proceeds to pick him up and throw him into a stone wall, and then slit his throat with a hunting knife and survive, which is the most Polynesian shit I've ever heard in my life.
Guys, when you leave your dogs at home, do you ever worry that they might find your firearm?
Damn, maybe the ATF is onto something. No, I never thought about that.
Introducing STOPBOX.
STOPBOX.
I'm sure a lot of you guys and gals have a handgun for self-defense, as we all do. And if you do, it probably fits into one of 2 categories. It's locked up, but not within reach. Or it's just laying around where anybody could have access to it.
Well, STOPBOX USA saw the problem, and they came up with the STOPBOX Pro.
It's all mechanical, so you don't have to worry about it.
It's batteryless.
Ribbed for your pleasure.
What I love about this is it's TSA approved. Most gun cases, when you want to fly with a weapon, has 3 or 4 little holes. This one has 1, so you only need 1 lock, and then you do your...
Our listeners are getting 10% off if you use code UNSUB, and right now they're doing buy 1, get 1 free.
Oh, that's a crazy deal!
That's 10% off and a free STOPBOX Pro when you use code UNSUB at STOPBOXUSA.com.
10% and buy 1, get 1! They have to be operating at a loss!
One of my favorite parts about the STOPBOX is that it is actually made in America.
Made in America!
Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with STOPBOX.
STOPBOX!
STOPBOX.
So And then that ended up being like the catalyst of like one of the main excuses for like, well, we can't trust American Japanese people. We have to put them in internment camps because they're all going to side with Japan, which obviously is fucking stupid, horrible, one of the worst things America's ever done. But that was the reasoning for it. And then
How progressive.
Yeah.
I'm still picturing ragdolling that little dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I pictured fucking Dwayne Johnson's character from Moana.
Yes, 100%. So like that was cool, and then I kind of like low key follow one character through the whole story. I like give you little updates on him, and then he comes out being like the main hero at the end. Right at the end of World War II, when the Allied forces break through the German Gothic line, which is like the last main line of defense in Italy, and then Germany ended up surrendering like 2 weeks later. So they fight all the way through this North Africa, Italy. They're fighting the entire time. They take massive casualties, and there's a guy named Daniel Inouye. He ends up getting promoted. At one point, he goes in to save the Lost Battalion in World War II. He gets shot in the chest. He carries $2 silver for luck in his front breast pocket. Caught the bullet, saved his life. Shit. So then he goes in on the Gothic line. They get pinned down by 3 MG-42 nests. His whole platoon's pinned down, and he's the lieutenant. So he gets up, rushes a MG-42 nest with a grenade, throws a grenade into it, gets shot in the stomach, blows up the first MG-42 nest, keeps running, throws a grenade into the second MG-42 nest, blows that one up, goes in towards the third, and he pulls the pin on the grenade, winds back, and he gets he's somewhere between 5 and 10 yards from the nest, and the Germans fire a rocket-propelled grenade at him. He was so close the grenade didn't have time to arm, but just the sheer force of the grenade hits his arm and severs it, and it's like dangling by tissue. And his hand is holding a live grenade with no pin in it. And he can't control it anymore. So he collapses, and his dudes like stand up to go run towards them, and he turns back and he's yelling, "No, stay back," because he's worried his hand's going to relax and let go of that grenade and kill everybody. So he, laying down with missing an arm, takes his left hand, pries a live grenade out, and then ends up throwing it left-handed and single-handed into this last German machine gun nest, blows it up, gets up with his Thompson, kills at least one German. Some accounts said as many as 3. So between 1 and 3 more Germans with a Thompson submachine gun, one-handed. Then he gets shot in the leg and falls down unconscious. And when he wakes up, his guys are looking down at him, and his dudes, like all the accounts are, he said, and I quote, "Nobody called off the war," as they're dragging him back to the rear. And he had so much morphine in the field that they couldn't give him any more morphine without basically stopping his heart, dropping his oxygen levels too low. It would kill him. And they didn't have anesthesia, so then he got his arm amputated in the field. And then he goes on to survive, and he always wanted to be a surgeon, but he can't be a surgeon with one arm. Right. So he got into politics. He was a Hawaiian territorial senator that was instrumental in Hawaii becoming a state, and then he served as Hawaii's state senator until 2012 when he passed away.
Damn. What a fucking G.
Yeah.
Cody had a fever today.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I hear these stories, it's like, man, I'm a bitch.
Cody's like, why am I getting shit on? I'm not even here today.
Again, just
holy shit,
host
dude.
throwing haymakers at hosts today.
Oh my god.
The worst part about that whole story is I didn't have any food to eat while you told it. I usually have when I watch your video.
Popcorn.
Oh man.
You're either a food YouTuber or you're a shower YouTuber. I watch YouTube in the shower in the mornings when I'm getting ready.
Or you were a shitter YouTuber.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, that's actually a high honor.
Victory.
That's precious
I don't know,
time.
the shower was up there.
Yeah, that was. I think Connor had mentioned that at some point where he said, I just want you to know you're a TV YouTuber.
Dang, dude, that's a high honor.
Wow.
Wait to watch it on the big screen.
Big screen.
Jesus, dude, running at 3 and the third one, arm gets blown off, and you're like, fuck it, I'll grab it with my other non-dominant arm. This throw is going to look gay. And then it will land.
I like that Nick specified with just one hand as opposed to 2 hands. It's like, ah!
He threw his hand. It's like a it's a potato smasher. What was that? I don't know.
My luck, the inertia fucks up and he tosses the hand, grenade drops.
No. And then he grabbed a Tommy gun with his left hand?
Yeah, he picked his Thompson back up and killed at least one, maybe three more Germans.
Jesus.
Do you know what he was shot in the stomach with?
I would assume an MG42. That or
8mm Mauser.
Like, I imagine getting hit in the stomach with an 8mm Mauser like would just fold you over. But if he's still going, it's like that's insane. Because you hear about that, like you see that in like war shows. You hear about it. And it's like, were they getting shot by MP40s or by like 8mm Mausers? You know, and they shrug off those wounds pretty much.
Because that's a hefty fucking round.
It's a big old round.
It's like a 30-06, but it's wider.
You know, if you think if you got shot in an MG42, do you think it would have been like zipped up? So you think it was like a Car 98 if it was an 8mm Mauser, or if you think it was an MP40? Well, then he would have get zipped up too if it was an MP40 in theory, unless one round caught it, you know. But
I didn't get to ask him, but
did you get to ask him?
No, I didn't.
You need to do some deep research.
Passed away my senior year of high school. Getting shot was badass enough. I didn't really.
That was one of the Japanese dudes?
Yeah, that was one of 18,000. So out of the 442nd, so they kind of put them through in phases. They sent out a battalion as an experiment, the 100th Infantry Battalion. And then after those guys were like performing really well, because I mean they were dedicated as fuck, like they were trying to prove themselves to everybody. So then they made an entire regiment, and they sent the 442nd absorbed the 100th Battalion. It became the 3rd Battalion in the 442nd Regiment, and it's the most decorated military unit in U.S. history for that size and that tenure. They had. Off the top of my head, I think it was 21 Medals of Honor.
Holy
shit, it was like
dude. Out of 1,200 people?
18,000.
18,000 is still fucking
18,000
wild
in 2 years. 21 Medals of Honor. They had somewhere between 300 and 600 Purple Hearts, like a ridiculous amount of Bronze Stars, a ridiculous amount of Distinguished Service Crosses, and then there was 9,486 Purple Hearts. When they went in to save the Lost Battalion, the dude that was the division commander of the 36th Infantry out of Texas was, he'd never been in combat, and they put him in charge of a whole division. And he was just being aggressive because he wanted to be the first guy to break into Germany. Yeah. And he had a group of Texans push way farther out than they should have, and they got completely surrounded by an entire division. And they kept sending in battalions to try to break through the line to rescue these guys, and nobody could. So they called up the 442nd because they had been beating ass at this point. They sent in the 442nd trying to save 211 Texans were surrounded. They sent in the 442nd. They fought for 3 days and broke through the line. And they ended up taking, I think it was 800 plus casualties to save 211 dudes.
Jesus.
But they punched through and got them.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember this story correctly, I think didn't later on they made all of them honorary Texans?
Yeah, they're all honorary Texans because of it. Yeah,
it's kind of neat.
That's dope as shit.
Do you think they were confused when a bunch of Japanese guys saved them?
Bro, that's like the coolest part of the story is like they know the first Japanese guy that like came because it was foggy and like smoke from all the battle. I forget his name. He was a private first class, but he's a point man in I Company or K Company. I or K Company. And like there's an account of
did they have an L company?
The Texan they probably did. They had so many fucking dudes out there.
God damn it, Eli.
Era.
So like there's this account of like, 18, 19-year-old Texan kid just like manning his gun on his defensive perimeter, and fucking Japanese dude in an American uniform comes walking through the smoke, and they like have this moment where they like lock eyes, and like Texan kid's like lip starts quivering as his eyes start tearing up like, oh shit, I'm saved. And this Japanese 442nd Infantry dude just looks at him and is like, you want to smoke? He just offers him a cigarette. I was like, that's the coolest thing on the planet.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Damn. So,
dude, those stories are wild.
Dude, the shit some of those dudes did is insane.
It's so much respect to any of those soldiers. I look at like anything that happened in GWAT and you're like, that doesn't hold a candle. I mean, a lot of respect to everything that happened in GWAT, but that stuff is fucking wild because there is none of the modern tech. Radio suck. You're out there in the middle of nowhere. Armor's not really a thing at this point.
What's crazy to me too is that like just that generation was just totally built different. Because you do these crazy things for 3-4 fucking years, kill more people than pancreatic cancer, and then come home and spend 40 years as a fucking postal worker.
The crazy part for me,
never mention it.
The crazy part for me is like we all grew up watching Saving Private Ryan. Like we understood what they were doing. Like if me and you went to do that, I'm not saying we'd do it better because we wouldn't, but we would at least have an idea of what we were getting involved with.
Right.
Imagine the perspective of, you've never seen Saving Private Ryan. I'm sorry, you want how many motherfuckers to jump out of how many planes at the same time?
You only know,
You know
like
what I mean?
100 people. Think you're in a small town, like max, and that is all the people you've ever met, known. You maybe shot a 22 to hunt. That is your life.
Yeah, welcome to Team Deathmatch with 800,000 people.
Yeah,
on
this
the
is more
beach.
people than you've ever seen in one place.
Yeah. Half of them are trying to kill you.
And then you're dropped. The airborne's the one that I can't wrap my head around. Like Normandy and that shit's wild. But then airborne units getting lost behind somewhere in Germany, France, wherever, and you're like,
Well, what's crazy to me too
shooting azimuth.
Yeah.
is a little bit of perspective. This is 40 years. You're dropping in Normandy out of a fucking plane, static line jumping into enemy territory under gunfire. 40 fucking years after the Wright brothers did the first flight.
When was a parachute created? The first parachute?
Leonardo da Vinci.
I think it was
Pass
it was
that
way
one.
before the plane. Yeah, it was way before the plane.
Speed up.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, like I think like
Oh, the Eiffel
balloons and
Tower
shit
guy
like
did
that.
it because they tried and he died. Someone jumped off the Eiffel Tower. He's like, "This is how you do a parachute," and it did not work.
Well, you can't.
yeah, literally.
You can't win them all.
Sacrifices must be made.
The airborne union got 50 cents extra or $1.50. What was it?
They got extra pay. I don't know how much it was at the time. I know they got jump pay, though.
It was like,
That's why a lot of dudes volunteered for it.
but it was like $2.50. It was double the pay, but it was not that much when you look at it now. And then you're deploying. How low were those entries?
I want to say, so we looked this up at one point. I'll verify. But I want to say that due to obviously exigent circumstances, they had to do some of those jumps at like, I want to say the lowest was like 300 feet, which is not safe.
No.
Oh God, open.
And then it's dragging you.
The crazy part is like
250 was the lowest recorded on D-Day.
I'm good.
How long? Dude, your parachute takes at least 100 feet total.
To start, yeah.
You're literally looking at the ground like, rounds are kicking up around you. Like
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Due to some altimeter errors, some aircraft dropping troops at 175 feet.
That's the
At that
fucking
point-
building in San Antonio.
You might as well fucking bungee jump with a knife and cut it at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, at that point, fuck the parachute. What?
Yeah.
Imagine looking out and they're like, go, go, go. You jump in and it's already right there. You're touching the top of a tree. Fuck.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the Tower of the Americas, what you're thinking of in San Antonio, is 750 feet.
Bro,
So you're dropping it, a quarter of that.
that's fucking wild. Yeah, fuck that. That is where so much respect to those dudes.
And when you land, it's not over.
Yeah.
You've started the match.
Right.
Oh, that's the worst part.
Hell of a load in.
Oh, no, I'm good. Well, I can't wait for that one. I'll watch the fuck out of that one. Jesus.
Pretty good.
What are your guys', do you do any history at all?
Yeah, I mean, like the history, a lot of stuff is like older history. Like I do like the hoplite warfare, like the hoplite heresy, where it's like the orthodox versus the heretical view, where as far as how they engaged in the battle, right?
You're saying a lot of words,
so-
not many of us are going to
Finally,
know or
because the gun
understand.
talk is making me insecure, so I'm gonna try and make like some words. Like, what are you guys talking about? I don't get it. Like Captain America, I understood that reference. So the idea was that like the orthodox view is that the phalanx, which is like the Spartan, like when you think of Greek warfare, you have the large shields, and it literally is just a pushing match, right? So the idea is that they would go in and you would push, and you would get some casualties that way. The heretical view is more that there would be a line, like kind of like a deep, like you'd have a small, like 20-foot or 30-foot line where the lines they would kind of set up, and then people would like do challenges in there, and then they would engage and push and kill and back off because you get so exhausted so quickly, right? You can't.
What's a challenge?
So like people would literally like run out there, like the bravest ones would literally just start killing each other. Like think of it like playing dodgeball back in the day, right? You'd have some people that hang out in the back and some people that get up to the front to actually engage. So literally there was like individual skirmishes in the front where people are like, because you hear all the stories, the heroical stories of the people like, fighting in single combat. It's literally because you had some dudes that were like the most brazen or brave would kind of come out and they would meet each other and they would just engage, and then the large bodies would move in and then they would disengage, and you'd have some javelins thrown, and you'd have a sling go through there, and then they would engage again. So it was like a tide of battle. Right, it wasn't just a single push. It would tide in and out, and you'd have to recover, move back, and then the most aggressive ones would stay out and still engage or try to kill some stragglers or grab some prisoners, and then they would kind of come back to their lines.
I've always wanted to like have a skit where I recreate the movie 300, but from the perspective of the guy at the very back of the phalanx.
What's going on?
Just like, what the fuck is going on out there for an hour and a half, and then they die.
You're faking it. Yeah. Pushing. Yeah. Oh. One of those guys where you're lifting.
How's everybody doing up there? Ooh, I'm starting to be able to see the enemy, so not well.
It's getting closer.
That's when the battle's over. You pour water on yourself. You're like,
I imagine you just get bored. You're like, where's that profession? Oh, you're just like, I gotta check my investment.
But I can't imagine. Can you imagine like the psychological warfare like that would be that you're literally like, if you guys ever played football or any sport, like you see a new team, you don't know who these dudes are, and you're like, all right, and you see him, I'm gonna challenge that guy, I'm gonna fight this guy, but it's like that guy's gonna murder me, and I can see his eyeballs. Like I can't imagine being shoulder to shoulder with someone that's literally trying to kill you in lines. Like that to me is just a different type of thinking altogether, where it's just.
I bet the shit talking was awesome.
I believe it. Like you're literally this close to someone who's trying to murder you, and what are you gonna say to them?
Stabbing someone with a "your mother" joke at the same time.
You bring up an interesting point where it's like, you playing sports, you don't know these guys, but it's like I remember playing football, and I would play the same guys because like you go up throughout the years, you're playing the same guys every year. So imagine like these Greek city-states warring, they like see the same guys over and over again. It's like, I've been meaning to kill this guy. Oh, Mykonos, you son of a bitch.
Oh, this is my second time trying to kill dipshitocles.
But I'm going to get you this time.
To your point, though, as far as like, you know, not knowing and whatnot, we have so much information nowadays, like modern warfare, realistically, it's like, all right, I've seen your fucking parade on Instagram. Like, I know what you guys are. You're using this kind of tank. You're using this, whatever. Back in the day, you're just a peasant from God knows where, and like, what the fuck is an elephant? Take a spear.
It's like, literally,
Where did they get that from? Like,
Across the Mediterranean, bitch.
Yeah, I remember reading something where it was like they were doing like the physical requirements for like the levy soldiers. It's like they had to like jump. Like this, like they would space out spears and they had to like jump over the spears. And they're like, "Good job, here you go. You're set. You're done." Like,
wait,
like,
do what?
Like they would have the spears just laid out like on the ground, like hopscotch, almost. And it's like they hop through it, and it's like, you can do it. Good job. You're set to go. There's your military service.
What's the elementary school thing where you get tested when you're a little kid?
Oh, the presidential.
To see if you get a spear or not.
No, I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that strict. I think it was more lax than that.
That's like, way too.
Yeah, I know. That's a high bar. That's a high bar.
The president's standard in elementary school.
Underfed peasants here. We gotta.
They would jump over spears to see if you could throw them or not.
No. It was just it was literally just like they would set up like a very little obstacle course in order for you to be qualified for like some sort of service, like the Landerschnitt. I forget. That's the one. They were really good mercenaries, but like they had the guys who used the Weihänder, which are those massive swords with like the curves that were like pike breakers, and they had the pikemen. So like the pikemen to be in it, like they had much less strict physical conditions, because really you're just like, if you're a pikeman, you're not engaging much in there. You just got a 20-foot spear and you're like, all right, stay back, you know?
Wait,
so
did we jump to medieval Europe or Renaissance Europe?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going all over the place. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Are you talking about the Landscheck pikemen?
Yeah, the Landscheck. Yeah.
God damn, I know shit.
Everything before 1776 was a mistake.
No. Once gunpowder came out. Damn you, sir! Gunpowder ruined everything.
So when would they use like?
There's a lot of third world countries that agree with that.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't laugh. I take it back.
Play that laugh and rewind.
Man, life was rad before gunpowder. That shit blows.
Dang, Chinaman had to make fireworks.
Man, just working in working in trades and like just seeing new tools and new technologies come out to make the job easier, and how much pushback and resistance and shit talking there was from that older generation of tradesmen that are like, you'd have older dudes that would like talk shit if you liked using an impact instead of a drill.
What?
Just like, people do not like changing, and they'll just shit talk anything new that's more efficient, and they'll like make fun of you for it. Like, oh, you got soft hands, you're using power tools, shit like that, 24/7. I can't imagine the shit talking. Oh, you're gonna use that magic black powder stuff that just goes boom, pansy ass. Why don't you stab a guy in the face like a man? Like, you know how much money I spent on this armor? You're gay. I'm cooler than you.
Because wasn't there like that kind of pushback? I might be making this up entirely, but when they transitioned from bows to crossbows, right?
So there was like, I mean, you can talk on this too, but really it was not necessarily a big pushback.
Oh shit, Admin's here.
No, it was more like there was an idea that like they said the Pope made crossbows illegal and things like that because it was too powerful and stuff like that. But really, there wasn't a big gap between the performance of it. It was just the amount of training required that was so minimal that you could arm people so quickly and have a similar result. But overall, it would be outpaced and outperformed by a good warbow or a longbow on almost all counts, except for the fact that it was easier to mass produce, easier to train. Like a bow, there was an old saying like, you want a good longbowman, start with the grandfather. So it's literally like a generational training to be able to functionally use a weapon of war that can actually do damage downrange, as opposed to a crossbow, which had very similar 1-to-1s, but it would just take a weekend. You know, you get someone to bow a crossbow, it's like, all right, let's do it.
I didn't have to change your bone density on half your back.
Yeah,
Are you good at it?
So it's like the problem. It's like war of attrition.
Click.
Yeah.
He walks Noma. Next.
Yes.
He can jump over the spears.
Damn, this guy's good. I've never seen someone hopscotch like that before.
That's where hopscotch came from.
Oh my god, what if it did come?
I know. He did the 1 foot thing.
Holy shit! It's Achilles reborn!
Welcome back, Brad Pitt.
Dude, crossbows, even those, you're just drawing back with the giant metal lever.
I mean, there's a
thing.
few different. He's got the
they
goat's
got,
foot,
like,
which
levers,
is
they got bicycle
the winch.
cranks.
Yeah, like the windlass, which is like that's a 1,200-pound crossbow, which is like, you know, it's gonna be steel, but steel is horribly inefficient as like to generate momentum. 1,200-pound crossbow, steel's not going to transfer as well as if you had like a well-made composite bow. So if like you have the bows of the Eastern Empire, Ottoman bows, Turkish bows that are composite that have like tendons and horse and things that take like a year to make, they have those. Those can go. They've had shots up to like 700 meters. That's like the world record, I think, for an actual bow. It's a composite bow with a recurve, and that's like the world record. But of course,
700 meters.
Yeah, no, it's legit. Yeah. So like you can look it up, but they have it's made for flight. It's more of sport than warfare because the arrows are light. They're not going to do damage on the way down. They're small.
I wouldn't want to get hit.
No,
by
yeah, true. But it's more like
Don't even worry about
That's
700 meters, fucking insane.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to be hit by anything that has the ability to go 700 more meters.
Good God.
That is fucking wild. Did you get into any sword stuff? Or?
No, I do a lot of that. Like, I'm not like I haven't done HEMA or anything like that. That's like the sword style and everything. And so I do a lot more stuff with like less training weapons. So I use a lot of war hammers, war picks, blunt type damage, because I feel like that's just like a lot of archers would have like an axe or a warhammer or a maul or things like that. So it's not like this. It's just not as much finesse, but you just freaking nail some armor.
I've got a sniper rifle and a shotgun.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. Yes.
We're being messy.
A scalpel and a machete. If we're sponsoring anything, we got to get this guy some fucking ballistic dummy heads, because I want to see what a fucking battle a Warhammer does to that.
yeah.
That would be so satisfying.
I just did one
Get ballistic
recently.
high speed out here.
Oh, dude.
That's
I've
a
been
good call.
doing some of the. I do a lot of the bone, right? I'll buy like beef ribs or femurs and things like that to test it out because it's just like that's the ballistic dummies are expensive. But even that with just like the Warhammers and things, I had one just recently where I had layered. I had brigandine armor, which is 1.5 millimeter chainmail, and I had a padded gambeson, and then I had beef ribs behind it. And I just got a new war axe, basically a battle axe, and so it's Orleans battle axe. And so I took it with it's got a really sharp pointed point on the back, and it went through everything and split the bone. It actually hit it right in the actual rib. It went through and in, so it was through like 3 layers of armor in through the actual bone, which is way thicker than human, and like in the back. And I was like, that's
God damn.
That's brutal.
I wish there was a way. I know that this would be logistically kind of difficult, but I wish there was a way to get with Ballistic Dummy Labs and get them to do like a 50% larger head. So you could do the David and Goliath shot.
Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah.
That would be gnarly.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got the Nephilim bust here. Yeah. See
Yeah.
these abomination from fallen angels.
To quote my son,
Yeah.
giants.
Have you seen the? It looks like competitive paintball, but
Okay.
it's archery with like
Yeah,
super blunted
yeah, yeah.
arrows. Have you ever done that?
No, I've never
done
done
that.
that.
I want
I've
to see you
done
do that.
Yeah, no, I've never done that.
It's like like paintball with the inflatable like obstacles and stuff. It's one of those, but they have like little bows and
like
arrows,
combat
but they're
archery,
like
like
it's like a
15
Nerf.
pound.
It's like a Nerf
Yeah.
ball on it.
Yeah.
So you're playing
You're getting decked
Nerf
with-
Yeah, but
arrows.
they don't go. It's like
Yeah.
going like probably like it's like.
I went to a pickup game with my warbell, and then they called the police.
Yeah.
and-
After I killed 3 people, they're like, boo.
I gotta go. I gotta go catch a plane back home. I'll see you guys later. It was nice to meet
Hey,
you.
great to meet you too,
Absolutely,
man.
for Sure.
We're going to go kiss him goodbye.
That titty's not going to pop itself.
Goodbye.
I want caffeine.
My slingers. Give me the Cretan archers.
That sounds like a slur.
Yeah, you made that a slur.
Yo, what's up?
Everyone's like, yo, what's up, slingers?
Not going there.
You got to go the soft A
can't
on
say
that one.
I said
He's like,
Slingers, his word.
into the neighborhood.
You can't culturally appropriate the slingers word.
you want some merch that will do good. You're welcome. If you have a Slingers t-shirt,
Unironically,
you're writing in an Impala.
What's up?
gonna say a Chrysler 300.
Actually,
Dude,
Chrysler 300 out the window.
it's like, all my slingers hate Goliath.
Ashley would go for you.
I'm here now. I'm committed. I've thrown in my lot with you bastards.
Well, Nick is gone, and now we're going to learn about this because you were on a movie set helping.
Yeah.
David.
Yes. So back in May, I actually went to Greece for 3 weeks because Amazon had the series House of David. And so the stunt coordinator found me on Instagram and he reached out. He's like, hey, we were making a show, and he couldn't talk to me about the time. He's like, would you be interested in teaching someone how to use a sling? I was like, sure. And then time went by. And then I got an email, like, because there's so many, like, the short time I had with that little Hollywood thing, there's like assistant to assistants. Like, I never knew who I was talking to. And they're like, hey, the producers in Hollywood, can you drive down and meet them to go over, what you might be able to do? I'm like, sure. So I drive down to LA and I bring the slings with me. And I meet with this producer and we walk down the marina and I show him how it works. I got some rocks and just kind of toss them out there. And then we have lunch together. He's like, yeah, we'd love to have you out. Like, how long can you commit? And I was like, I got 2 to 3 weeks max. Like, that's as long as I want to be with my family. Like, that's, I'm not trying to chase a Hollywood dream. I'm not going to be an actor.
It depends on how many zeros.
Yeah. I guess technically.
$20.
Wife, I've changed my mind.
1,000 denarii.
The idea that you don't even need to be like, he didn't even need to include the TV show part. You're just, somebody hits you up, hey, would you like to teach someone how to use a sling? You're like, fuck yeah, I will.
Yeah,
2 to 3 weeks max.
Like, this is like a hobby passion thing. I don't care about any of that. So they actually flew me out to Greece, and I got to. They had the 2 different departments. One was the stunt studio, and that's where they had like all they see in the movies, the mats and the boxes, right? Where the people like they kind of section out where the set's going to be when they actually get there with the boxes and they kind of do the choreography. So I met the stunt crew and they were super cool guys. And then I met the kid who's playing David Michael. He was a great kid, like young little kid. And so I worked with him for like 2-3 weeks. Just trained him how to use the sling, you know? So that was great. And then I met that big Martin Ford who played Goliath. He's that really big English guy with tats all up on his neck. He's just some big, like 6'8" bodybuilder guy.
Is he in any other movies?
He's been in like a lot of movies. He plays the villain in a lot of movies, I think. So I was working with him like spear throwing and everything like that because Goliath had spears. So like how to get that going. So I do that, the javelin and things like that as well. Here we have a couple different lengths of sling, and so I have a longer one and a shorter one. And so they would carry
the longer one's harder. I'm assuming
the longer one would be able to toss a larger projectile further, right? Different ranges, just like anything, right? You have a longer sling, you have more centrifugal force, so you can actually move a projectile further. So that's going to be like early mortar fire, so to speak. You can cast a longer rock, lead, or clay further down the line. So that's going to be longer range. The medium range is a medium sling, and then shorter range is for shorter range. And so they have a waist, head, and they'd have one in their hand. So they carry 3 different lengths of sling. Of cord to basically do that. And there's even like an old adage, because they were so good at the Balearic slingers, like they were basically always mercenaried out. Like even if they got conquered, then the Romans were like, all right, because they were with Carthage first, and then Roman beat Cartha, and they're like, all right, you guys are with us now. And they're like, all right, cool. So they just kind of hopped around as mercenary forces.
What were they called again?
The Balearic slingers.
That sounds like a dope sports team.
It does.
That's what I was honestly. Yeah, that is.
What
that.
size were the projectiles? Like we
So
like
it would
baseball?
be. So the Romans used lead, and that was about 3 ounces of lead. So not super massive, but lead's very dense. So 3 ounces of lead's about that big.
Yeah.
And so
I was like, show me with
yeah.
Measurement with hand.
3 ounces, of course.
Obviously, 3 ounces. Yeah, totally. But then you would have larger ones, which would be like 8. Like when I sling like 8-ounce rocks or something, those are about that big.
Oh,
so that's going to do.
That sounds like you're
damage.
a drug dealer.
I know.
They're talking like QPs.
Yeah. He's a real ass slinger.
Well, now you're committed to it. You got to carry it forward.
I'm a dude playing dude disguised as another dude.
The Balearic slingers.
And so then I was
You
talking
get half an energy drink in this guy.
Oh, good heavens.
and then
Done off the reservation.
I was talking to Brandon too about the Romans would actually drill holes in the lead shot because it would whistle. And so I've done that with some fishing lead. You just the fishing weights, those are about 3 ounces. You drill a hole in it, and you can like half drill or all the way through, and it makes this hiss noise like as it goes through. And they would use that to keep people in place. So if they had shields, it's not going to go through wood, right? But it's going to keep people pinned down because of that noise flying over. So they would be able to keep people in position as the slingers go. So every Roman legionnaire would carry a sling, and they would use those to keep people pinned down so the people wouldn't feel a flank out, because they would just say that noise going over your head.
Like, oh fuck.
Would
It's no
drop you
different
down.
than it's like a paintball or anything flying by.
Yeah,
at high
exactly.
Speed, so you're like, shit, I don't want to move out
Right.
because something's flying by.
Exactly, yeah.
But the holes drilled specifically so it made more noise, just
Yeah.
like totally just suppression.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Psychological
Suppressive fire,
warfare, like
early.
the Jericho fucking whistles on the German plane, the Stukas.
When you get shot at, I mean, you know distance because it's like whistle, it's not cracking. If it's cracking, it's very close. That means it's like, I need to take cover,
get down,
concealment. Huge difference in how you react to that.
And even that, like, because I've tested it, like you get wooden shields against it, and it makes this god awful thud when it hits the wood. It's not going through wood, but it's going to be like this really just force reckoning, boom, like thunder when it hits. And they even have there was even documents of like the surgeons, the Roman surgeons, when they would face these people that used it, they would actually have a specific device to pull the lead out of your skin, because it would actually go into the body because it was moving at such high velocity, 150 miles per hour is what they get it to. It would actually embed in the body, so they'd have a specific tool to remove it.
It's called a knife.
Yeah.
Surgical tool.
No, but like
A spoon.
yeah, just scoop.
A spork. Really spork.
They found out the tool to remove the lead weights was also good for eating soup.
Well, how would they actually do that? Like, what was the
They'd
tool?
have like they would do, like be able to inside, so it'd come in and pull it out a little bit. So they don't actually have pictures of what it looked like. They just referenced that they had a specific tool to remove the lead from the body when it would actually punch into it.
It's like which was the king or prince that had the arrow?
Henry
removed?
V.
Yeah, the tool.
That would actually drill into the arrow and open up to pull it out. They have to go through like the actual shafts to get it in there.
And at that time, it was like, oh, this is extremely what would be the word, like revolutionary tech
Cutting
to
edge.
remove. Yeah, cutting edge to remove this, and then you look at it, you're like, oh, it would suck. Dick didn't even have numbing cream. It was just like, shh.
Have you ever had whiskey?
Here's some sauce shit that some gypsy lady cooked up for you. Here you go.
Smell it. So they just scoop them out.
For those of us who don't know the backstory on that, you said Henry V?
The fifth, yeah.
Was shot in the fucking face with an arrow?
Yeah. It was hit in the face. They must, because they would like, and I have like, if we do this, if we go big, you know, it's like with the armored combat, you don't realize how much oxygen it deprivates from you with to have a metal over your face, because you get a CO2 buildup, right? So that's what all the holes were for. And so a lot of times during a charge or when they're giving orders, they'd lift up the faceplate so you'd be able to breathe, because the early Corinthian design, like the Spartan helmet and with the common, is it would actually sit up on the head, so you could have it up and it would rest on your head like a hat. And then they created the visor so you could pop it up, and then like those in front would give orders to things, you'd pop it up, and then when you do the charge, you drop it down and go down. But if you're issuing orders or yelling or trying to catch your breath, you'd have to pop that visor up to get your breath, because it really does limit the amount of oxygen you can intake when you have something covering majority of your face.
Oh yeah, it's a gas mask. Everyone knows those.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
gas mask run. You're like, yeah, we'll keep it. You just crack it slightly. This sucks dick.
Just so you know, the air is not poison, because I'd be dead.
Hopefully it's not neurotoxic.
How about just a little CS gas?
Just a smidgen. So you did that, and then what movie trained that individual up? Did you just do 3 weeks?
I just did 3 weeks with him, and the kid was great. He took it very seriously. He'd go down to the beach and practice. Like, he was committed to it, you know. And so he got really good in that short time. I was genuinely impressed. So I would do it up like if you've ever boxed, like you have shadow combinations 1, 2, 4, 6, right? Something like that. So it's like 1, 2. So I'd call out different sling styles. Basically, I have a big bag of tennis balls when we were in there, and I'd call out like 1 and 2 and 6, and he would have different styles he would run through. So as he got really good at it, we would run through those different styles. And
what are the different, like, not to go too in the weeds, but the different styles? Because like, I just assume it's all pretty similar.
Right. No. So there's quite a few different ones, and a lot of it was kind of, you had to create, like, we had styles and then flashy styles, like Hollywood, right? You think of like, you know, like the jumping throws and like the spinning throws. And so we had a couple flashy ones, which was like when you spin around and move it like that. If you talk about that Spaniard, the guy who does who dinged that metal pot. Oh yeah, right, yeah, because he does that spin style. Like he flips around and does that style to get a lot more momentum, but it looks very cinematic.
Great for the views.
Yes. So the standard one is just like you don't spin it too much, and if you bring it over your head, it's really just to rest, and then you explode out on that last one. So it's just to keep the energy keeps the rock in the sling, and you explode and you sling it down there. And so there's a couple different ones, a figure 8 where you kind of come around, back and up, and sling it that way. You can kind of come behind and then come flip it over the front and then go that way. And so there's quite a few different kinds, and you can have one where you rest it at the side, and then when you're ready, you explode out over the top of the head. So those are the ones we were working on. So like there's a quick shot, which is just one. It's just you don't even rotate it. You just snap it over the top, and that's usually the most accurate, because you don't have to, like, when you're spinning it, you really have to calculate in your head when the release point is to kind of figure out, okay, I'm letting go of it here, as opposed to just like a snap where it's a lot easier to kind of get it down the line. So those are good for closer range, but if you want more momentum, more inertia, you generally need to come over. And then that last one, you're really going to open up and extend it out so you have as much momentum as possible. So it's extending your arm like by double, right? So just think of a pitcher. It's
I was just
extending
gonna
the
say,
length
yeah.
of their arm by 2, so you have that extra momentum for a heavier projectile to go just 120, 130 miles.
Real quick. I feel like we're a group of kids that just got old, and we're listening to the best kid in the group that can throw the rocks the hardest. Explain how to do it.
Dude, it's that caveman instinct too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I just said right before I came on, I was like, dude, I bet, because you were saying people carried around a pouch full of the stones.
Yes.
And I was like, I bet the day before battle, just finding the perfect stones had to have ruled. You're like, I don't know, fucking kill somebody.
You're showing those off to your friends, like you're like snagging a stone.
Yo, check this one out.
Oh, dude, you see Brad Stone, dude? Brad Stone's so fucking cool. Came with a hole.
This looks like it would fuck up an ottoman.
Turns out rock fights when you're a kid is just blood memory from being a sling.
Do you have a
Maybe it
bedside
is our
sling?
word.
A bedside. I have my concealed carry sling.
Yeah, dude, your bedside sling. Someone breaks in. You're like, babe, watch. Babe.
Shit.
My wife is entirely unamused by all of my nerdiness. She's like, "You are such a nerd." I'm like, "Yes, you married me. It's up to you. Made this bed."
Don't worry, it balances out with your looks. Okay. you can get away with it.
I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, he looks like the gay love child of me and John Lovell.
Hey, that's accurate. Yeah, that's actually pretty spot on.
Sorry, John. Collateral.
For sword combat, do you just go for like what is your favorite style? So you were talking about like the huge, Zweihander?
Zweihander. Yeah.
Those are massive. Like you grab
Like
even
6
they have the
foot,
blade.
yeah, and they'd have like the ricotta, which is like an unsharpened part, so you could grab on that top part there as well, so you can have that leverage. But those are like
momentum weapons too, though.
yeah,
right?
and they're like pike busters. So you have those 20. Those were meant to break up the pikes because you have those 20-foot pikes, and those could chop through that wood to kind of close that distance when you're basically trying to get in that warfare. But for me, I mean, like I said, I'm not trained in swords, so I just like in archers too. That a lot of times it would be like a maul or a warhammer or a pick, because that's going to do way better against plate because it has that blunt damage. And so as armor got better in like the 15th, 16th century, right, the swords would be much narrower to kind of punch through mail, and then you'd have the rondelle dagger, which is what's going to do the finishing move because it would engage in a clinch. They'd go down, and that's going to be the thing that's going to get those weak points. But you can't thrust through well-made plate.
A lot of people that's the thing. We've talked about it. It's weapons went to like a scimitar or a what is the fencer saber. Saber.
Yeah.
Googling how to be advertisements for some gay French sword.
But I just love how their like armor got better, so they're just like
Hammer.
brute force, parry this asshole.
Literally, like concussive force is what's going to do it. So I think that's, it's like either you were extremely skilled, fencer, or you were just like brute force damage, or you get 3 dudes, you take a knight down and you hit the weak points. And that's how most of them went down, like in Agincourt, right? It's like, it wasn't the archers that did it. It would take them off of their horses. It would take the horses out of the equation to disrupt the charge. And then the knights lose like 50% of their efficiency if they're not mounted because they're much slower.
You lost me on that a little bit. How are they taking out the horses?
So basically, the reason why the warbow was so efficient was the long distance. And for a charge to work well, or cavalry charge, they need to be shoulder to shoulder, like elbow to elbow, knee to knee. It needs to be a close-knit formation for a charge to have good impact damage. And so if you hit horses from a distance, it's going to spook the horses. The horses may die or fall, and it's going to cause them to fall over. It's going to cause an escalation of the charge to be disrupted. And so when the knights lose the ability to be on their horse, then the archers and the forces are gonna have the advantage because they're gonna be able to swarm, right? Just think of anything. It's like 3 people versus 1 dude in armor. If they're in the melee and the craziness, they can pin them down, and then they're gonna have the daggers to basically go through the eyes, the neck, the underarms, where the chainmail is, to really be able to finish that person off. So it's like brutal, right? Like just think of going out with like 4 dudes on top of you, like not the eye.
Saturday night.
Yeah. 4 dudes.
Yeah.
Oh no, my chainmail's open back there.
Help me, step
welcome to unsubscribe, brother.
Trying to buy comeback shots.
Stat Pikeman is. I was mentally prepared, but I wasn't prepared.
Even just pragmatically, I was thinking it's a very funny mental image where, let's say you got a knight full armor doing cavalry charge. How would you rather fight in full armor? Fresh and ready to go, or having just been knocked off a horse and had to run 700 yards in full armor?
Yeah, that would be brutal. And I think the thing that would work would be the French were really committed to the horse, the cavalry. But if you had, they would separate it. You had hard targets and soft targets. So hard targets were armored knights, and soft targets were the horses, because even they had the catch in the front. So the horses had that catch, which is usually sometimes they had mail or things, but they weren't completely armored, so you could hit the flanks. But if you had hard targets advancing, even with the bow, if they had their helmet down and they were moving, they would still be able to move forward relatively well, because it's not going to go through armor, especially at an arc, right? You're going to have to really hit those weak points. But it was a volume fire. So if you think of 5,000 archers and they could do 10 to 12 a minute, right? And they would do that. So you'd have possibly 10,000 arrows in the air at a time.
Jeez.
Because you think about the volley. So it's like an arrow flight at like 300 yards is probably like 10 seconds. So you could have 2 sets.
Oh, shit.
That's blotting out the sun. That's
right. And literally, it's like 10,000 at a time. And there would be another round behind it. So it really
you're firing the second arrow before the first one lands.
Right, exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's not like, again, it's not a small arrow. It's like it's 1,500 grain, 1,600 grain, massive thing, half-inch ass shaft that's just really coming down. So it would really only a fraction of them need to hit the actual weak spot for it to actually be usable to disrupt or cause mental, exhaustion as you're moving forward.
What year are we talking about?
When was this?
What?
So this was like 14th, 15th century, and then at the 16th century, the archers, they got a little more armor and things, but then after that, then gunpowder came around, and so the armor started to change, where plate became less usable, and also you lost so many skilled archers that you weren't able to replenish those ranks. The same with the slinger, right? Because it's like a skilled craft. And so as you lose those people, you can't replenish them. And that's the great thing about a crossbow. We talked about this when we did the crossbow video, how it's like crossbow men dies, like, here, take this.
Yeah.
Right? And they can do it. But if you have a heavy duty warbow, you pass the guy next to you, he's like, what am I going to do with this, right? Yeah, you can't.
Put it on your...
Imagine me drawing the fucking bow, dude.
Become the human ballista.
Connor's like, I got you, bro.
Guess I'm gonna die.
Guess we're swinging it. This is now my melee bow.
Damn you, son.
May not have the skill to shoot an arrow, but I can hit you with a stick.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that where like pikemen essentially? I mean, obviously it was to stop like cavalry, but it's way easier to just give a fucking medieval peasant a sharpened stick.
Oh yeah. I mean, spears were like the king. They are considered the king of weapons. They existed like the earliest reference of a spear was like the Clacton spear, I think, and that was like 400,000 BCE, and that was just it was just
400,000.
Yes. 400,000, yeah. And so
when we switched from monkeys to slightly smarter,
we just got fired.
Human Covenant War.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
But it was literally just to sharpen, and they would harden it.
Forerunner. My bad. Sorry, guys.
You could harden the wood by heating it, right? Like it would ash. So they would make it, and so it would be like a stronger stick, but they wouldn't have like stone or anything. But that was like, they have a record of that as being an actual offensive or hunting weapon at that time. And it basically went all the way up until like the 18th, 19th century, right? Spears were still common, like halberds were still things that were very much in use at that time, and it took a long time for it to phase out. Even bayonets are like an extension of a spear,
That's the halberds. They just started spearing. It's like, oh, let's just add hard point at the end so you can swing it to get through armor, or sharp points or hooks to bring out weapons.
Somebody up over.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you've all heard the expression that every weapon is either a stick or a rock. Over the course of all human history. Guns just throw rocks faster than a sling can.
Yeah. We just got that skill tree upgraded.
New, faster rocks!
Infomercials back in the day.
100 million dead!
Johnson & Johnson, a family company.
Brought to you by Raytheon.
What is your favorite? Is it during David Goliath era your favorite style of combat or formations? Weapons?
I think the coolest to me is that time because, like I was telling you earlier, it's like there was a moment where the slings would outrange the bows at the time, right? The slinger could throw 300 to 400 meters, and at that time,
dude, you gotta make a shirt.
yeah.
You gotta make a slinger
trying
shirt,
to listen,
bro. I'm struggling with Connor.
Him giggling made me giggle. The teacher's gonna have to separate us.
Y'all being a bunch of punk ass slings! Listen up to the real OG sling over here! Quit yanking a man's sling and listen up, young blood!
I'm just gonna say that. Okay, go on. Your favorite era?
Outranging bows of the time.
Yeah. So so it was like the idea was that there was a thought that even like there wasn't good wood on the islands in order to make a bow, so they had to be proficient in the sling. And there's like old anecdotal stories that like even at a young age, like the kids before they could eat they would put a piece of bread up on a stick, and before they could eat the bread, they had to hit it with a stone, right? So it literally was something that was taught from youth to adulthood. And so even me training for a long time is like a pale representation of the power and the accuracy they had. And the Greeks would set it up on the beach. They'd have these rings set up at different varying distances, and they have to make it and thread it through that ring with the sling. And so it's really just so cool because it's just a rope and a rock, right? Like the ingenuity of people where it's like, I'm going to take a string and a rock and I'm going to make it something that can murk you from 120 yards away, right? So
Which is insane because you like, in my mind, coming from like the firearm space, there's no sights.
Right.
You just like, fuck it. That seems right.
Right. Yeah.
That's absurd.
And of all the things I've learned, like the amount of stones that I've thrown is absurd. Like I'd have to tape up my fingers with athletic tape because you get blistered all over, right? And so just being able to get it to go in a slight direction of where I want it to go took ages just to figure out. I want to go straight, not left, not right. Just like I want to hit a 10 by 10 target that's like 20 yards away. It took forever to figure out just on when to release it.
And you're saying so people will do 120 yards and they could do that
right accurately, right? That's I mean again,
think we struck like a 9mm pistol. You could most people aren't hitting 120 yards.
No, God no.
Yeah, and again, it's when you get into the weeds of the history, it's like you hear a lot of things, and it's like, okay, maybe they did that, but really, most anyone can hit an army from 120 to 200 yards away, right? That's the thing.
When they're shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, if they're
again, minute of crowd.
Right, exactly.
That way.
Yeah, and even the war bows, like even in medieval Europe, they had hunting bows and war bows. War bow is like a modern term, but it's anything over 80 pounds. And so they wouldn't hunt with something like that because to be able to aim well with something that's 160 pounds, like your body is under such duress that you can hit a target with it, but anyone can hit an army at that distance as opposed to like a pinpoint accurate shot. You need time to be able to really settle in and aim, but your body's basically wanting to let go the moment you get it back. So it's much harder to aim those at like a pinpoint spot when it's that heavy of a draw weight as opposed to just lobbing it down range to just disrupt an army.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was actually about to ask, do you do any sort of bow hunting?
No, I've never actually bow hunted.
Really?
No,
Okay.
no, yeah. The first and
Too
never
easy?
No. Like
I mean, no offense by this, but you look like the kind of guy who would walk out into the forest and hand feed baby deer.
I would, yes. What he said.
Hey, no offense by this. You look like the guy that would order edamame for the table.
Waiter, I got this. Edamame. For this, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What an oddly specific dig.
Yeah.
The ladies love it.
Yes. With some soy bacon.
I didn't mean it like that. You seem like a kind, gentle human being.
It's like, you look like a Disney princess. Everybody's fucking sucking you off, and then I say something nice, and now
Yeah, why you so gay? why you being so nice with the super hot chat? Gay?
Tune in for the Pepperbox exclusive gangbang.
The Disney princess.
Oh man.
The birds are following him around. You need to go hunt with deer hunt with a sling.
Yeah, I mean that would be.
That's a good piece of content. That is a lot of views.
That would be
unless
nuts.
the deer suffers.
I would think that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, just smack a fucking deer at mom.
Everyone's laughing.
As it's flailing for life, as like all the bones just break. Because I did a ballistic dummy with the sling once, and I hit it like on the orbital bone. And ballistic dummies, I feel like are.
You're walking with your giant rock.
Pikeman!
It was like, dude, that Outdoor Boys just popped up today. It's like my final video I'll never forget of Outdoor Boys. And he's like,
the fish?
Yeah, he's like, did you find a rock, kid? He's like, no, Dad. It cuts to him just punching the fish in the head 4 times.
Don't take this the wrong way. You seem like the type of slinger that would cave in a deer skull.
Oh shit, Admin's here.
So you orbital crushed a mannequin's head.
Yeah, but so the ballistic dummy, it broke like all the bones. But the crazy thing was all the way to the back of the skull, it just shattered everything. Just like it was like paste, right? And so I couldn't imagine like surgery, whatever. If bones splinter like that, it's like if you don't die, it's not an instant death, right? That is like a long, horrible, mushy skull for like a couple days where you're just floundering. And so it's brutal.
There is actually an old medical procedure they used to do for stuff like that. It was called prayer.
Yeah, I know. Yes. We'll get the priest in here. But no, it would be
sage.
Yeah.
I diagnosed her with brain mush.
Oh, shit. Todd is a hero. Say something, Todd.
Jesus.
Todd, can I have your farm field?
That's legally binding.
He dips on it, dips his wife. You guys all heard it.
Connor, open hand.
Unplugging medieval life support is just bashing the rock.
Like Eli's gonna do with this deer.
Someone just goes beep. Just the background.
It's like a choir.
Sorry, we haven't invented washing hands yet.
Oh, good God.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I'm a surgeon. I make $160,000 a year.
I brought my one tool.
Well, I think on that note, we can move to the after show because that's comedy gold.
That was fun. I really enjoyed that. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us. Real quick, where do we find you at, bro?
Dash Rendar on YouTube.
Spell it out.
DASHRENDAR. After my favorite Star Wars character, because I'm a huge nerd.
Oh, that's what we'll talk about in the after show.
Okay.
Holy shit, Admin's here. Where do we find you?
You can find me at Administrative Results, but don't come looking.
And what's your new one?
Bureau Files. You can come looking.
And King Trout, where do we find you?
On the internet. King Trout.
Close it out, Brent.
Thank you guys for coming to the Unsubscribe podcast. Today I was joined by Eli Doubletap, King Trout, briefly Nick the Fat Electrician, Dash, Administrative Results, and myself, Donut Operator.
Thank you. Stay tuned for the after show. Beep.